Okay, the hard part is seeing where the capacitive leads go through. So here's a capacitor. They have two leads. And by the way, just for those, there's another video, very good videos that talk about changing these things out in the polarity. These things are polarized like a battery. They got a plus, they got a minus. You need to put them in polarity fashion. And if you put one in backwards, it's not going to work for you. So anyway, this particular capacitor is these two leads. This particular capacitor is these two leads. So here and here, you'll notice in this one it's here and here. So they're somewhat a little difficult. One of the things you can do, if you even suspicion it, take your soldering iron, warm that up, drop the capacitor out, and you can check the capacitor or get a new one. They're not all that expensive. These guys are, I don't know, a couple bucks maybe. The small ones are pennies, 50 cents, something like that. Okay, but I'm not going to get into the explanation of that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to show you additional tests. So I suspect this capacitor right here, it's right next to this big toroid, this big inductor, this capacitor's got a bulge on it. And I suspect it's shorted. Okay, so we're going to check it. I'm going to grab something here. What do I have? We got some Nature Sunshine Mesa Sunrise. Just went shopping, so I have a bunch of things. But I'm going to hold this up. And again, the difficulty is figuring out which connections. But I think it's this pin here and that pin there. Okay, so I'm going to turn the meter on. We got set on low current, low resistance. And I'll show you the meter once I show this. Okay, you gotta go back here and figure out which. Okay, this guy to this guy, and lo and behold, it's short. It's dead short. Let me see if I can hold this. Yeah, there. Remember, 0.4, dead short. That's no good. Okay, let me go to the next one and see. Okay. Now this guy, I started seeing numbers on there, but then they went away. Well, what's happening is I charged it up. So that was testing the capacitors, and I'm going to duck down here. I adjusted the screen, so the camera, so you could see this. But okay, a couple of things. I think I showed you in the last section that this one capacitor is shorted, and I checked a couple of the other ones around there and they seem okay. So this guy's shorted, and we'll take that out. I'm not going to take it out here, but a couple of points in making these measurements. These boards are covered with a coating to keep off dust and dirt and mold and gunk from growing. And often when you put your probes down, your leads, you're going to need to punch through that little bit of lacquer or whatever. And if you slide your pin on the like a big foil like this is, you can actually start to see it mark it, and then at that point you know it's going through. But this solder oxidizes, and sometimes you'll put your probe on here, your pins on here, and you won't see anything change, but you're not getting a good connection. So you need to really kind of wiggle it around, push. Make sure your tips are pretty sharp. That makes a difference. So measuring the capacitance. So that's a good indication. And you can go through and look at each one and check it and see if they're shorted. And if they are, they're bad. So change them out. And again, there's videos on the web talks about identifying the numbers on the side and getting a similar part and making sure the voltage is at least as high as the voltage on the part that you take out, that sort of thing. So the same continuity test can be used, by the way, with transistors. Transistors will have 3 leads, and what you can do is touch the lead to the contact the various leads. These big power transistors, the ones attached to the heatsink, are usually the ones to go if transistors are going to go, as opposed to the little signal transistors, these little plastic potted transistors. These would be most likely the ones if the circuit's blown, capacitor shorts out, it causes an excessive load on the transistor and it could burn out, overheat, burn out. There's several of those. This is a big transistor right here. Let me just, I'll do a quick check on this so you can see me doing it. Unfortunately, let's see, it says 3 leads, right? Well, I'll do this one here, these 3 leads right here. Unfortunately, I can't hold this thing and have you see it at the same time, so I'm just going to position it here, take a look, but you'll see how I'm probing this. So I'm going to put my one of my leads on one and go to the next. Nothing. Next, nothing. And I'll go to the center one. And we'll hold that shorted. Well, let me turn it around. That guy's bad. Didn't know that. The reason I turned it around, I'm not even sure you saw that. So what I did is I put the lead on one, go to the transistors. Are 3 components: emitter, base, collector, and so you need to check all 3. And so I put on the one, did this one, it was okay. This one, continuity. Put on this one in here, and I got a short. Turn it around, and I get a short. Okay. And the reason I turned it around is transistors are work like diodes, and a diode biased one way, it'll show open. Turn these guys around, bias the other way, it'll show short. And so I could have had a good transistor, it showed short one way. It won't be totally short, but it'll be close to being short. Sure, short one way, but if I turn around and I also get a short, then I've got a bad transistor. So that guy's bad. Now I'm curious. I'm going to go check the next one here, or I'm going to check the one on the other side. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I saw when my meter changed, meaning I charged the capacitor. This gets a little tricky because these guys are in circuits, right? And so they'll have some resistance, they'll have some capacitance. Yeah, like that was a big capacitor across it. That was a big one. So that one's okay. That one's okay. I expect I could keep going through, but my purpose wasn't to diagnose this guy. But you can see I got a bad cap, I got a bad transistor. So to repair those, it would be a matter of taking those components out, getting new ones, suitable replacements, putting them in, turn on, and away she goes. Okay.